A norovirus alert from Washtenaw County tonight. The public health department says it has at least one confirmed case of the norovirus, but there may be others. Doctors in the county have treated several people for gastrointestinal illnesses over the past month. Norovirus is highly contagious and is somewhat common this time of year. We want to help you keep your family healthy, so we invited Dr. Dominic Parada from St. Joseph Mercy Hospital, and he's here to talk about the norovirus. Doctor, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you hate to hear about this, but 'tis the season, I guess.
It is indeed.
Some of the symptoms of norovirus, what should we be looking for?
Vomiting and diarrhea are the two main symptoms.
You hear that and you think, is that any different than just even getting the flu? So I guess, how do you know if you have the flu or perhaps norovirus?
That's a good question. Doctors often use the term flu to refer to influenza A and influenza B, which are more respiratory viruses, in fact. They may include fevers and myalgias, but not so much the aspect of vomiting and diarrhea.
So if someone says, I had the stomach flu, which is how people refer to it a lot, it could actually be the norovirus?
More likely. That was always my mom's terminology growing up.
I think, yeah.
And oftentimes that'll be the norovirus.
Okay. If you get this and you have these symptoms, is there anything you can do? Or can you run to your doctor and take an antiviral to make your symptoms feel better, or do you just grin and bear it?
Unfortunately, there's nothing that can get rid of the virus itself, but there are a number of things you can do. Staying hydrated is really the most important thing for you. And oftentimes, even in the presence of some vomiting and diarrhea, if you're drinking fluids that have electrolytes, Pedialyte is one that you can get over the counter for kids. Even things like sports drinks can be helpful. And then, of course, preventing other people from getting sick is the other key thing.
Because it's very contagious, right? We mentioned that. So what do you do? What are the tips to prevent this?
Well, fortunately, the contagion is mainly by contact. It's not chiefly an airborne virus, so very careful hand washing and keeping surfaces clean is the most important way to prevent that kind of spread.
You know, on our screen here that we have up, we also say stay at home if you're ill. And for a lot of people, maybe working parents, working people, you don't, I mean, I guess if you're sick enough, of course, you're going to stay home. But you know, if you feel like you've got to get to work, you go. But you're really doing a disservice to other people, aren't you?
You can be, especially if you're involved in activities where coming into direct contact with other people. It's almost impossible to keep the virus off yourself, and you're liable to spread it by contact.
And how long does this last? How long are you going to feel lousy?
The symptoms vary. Anywhere from a day or less, sometimes to several days would be a typical pattern. I
would assume that some people, too, could almost confuse something like this for food poisoning. Isn't that hard in your line of profession, that when some of us, you know, if we come to the doctor complaining of symptoms, how do you know what you're dealing with?
Unfortunately, we don't have a good test to distinguish those. We go by the symptoms, and we chiefly treat the symptoms.
Okay. And drink a lot, rest, and
good hydration.
It too will pass, as they say.
Yes.
All right. Dr. Parada, thank you very much for joining us, and Happy New Year to you.
Thanks for having me. Happy New Year.
All right. Stay healthy, right?